Well, I'll tell you a little bit about myself, how I even got into this whole Back to the Future thing. It was one of my favorite movies, of course. I used to be a trapeze artist. And remember the guy who was Doc? Double Doc coming down from the tower? Yeah. He's a very good friend of mine, of the family. He used to be in the circus also. So his name is Bob Yerkes. And every time we were traveling with the circus, Bobby would come to the show if he's in the same town and watch us perform, and we'll talk. And I always knew Bobby was doing all the stunt stuff. And I said, Bobby, one day I want to try to get into the stunt business. And he said, well, whenever you want to, let me know. And I had just been performing with my family for the last 12 years. And I said, well, before I get too old, I figure I better try it. So he goes, I wrote him a letter. I go, Bobby, I want to be a stuntman. He goes, all right, come out to California and we'll see what we can do. You got to get your SAG card and all of that. He was helping me trying to get that the whole time. So Bobby was had a friend call him and said, I need a guy who can tumble and flip over this guy while they're doing sword fighting. And he goes, well, I have a guy who just came to town, might be pretty good at it. It was a movie called Blind Fury. Remember that one? So when I was doubling the Asian guy at the very end when he did over the jacuzzi and all that shit. And the second unit director was the second unit director on this movie. And we hit it off really good. I only worked on that movie for maybe 3 or 4 days. And Bobby did some of the rigging for me, and Max Clevin was the second unit director. He goes, oh, I really like the way you work. I'm going to get ready to do a film. But he said paradox. That's what he called it back then.
Right.
And he goes, go see Walter Scott, tell him I sent you. So I went to Universal Studios like the next day. And I didn't know what film it was going to be or anything like that. And I walked in, they were recreating the dance, Under the Sea dance or whatever it's called. And I said, oh my God, this is Back to the Future, That's like, holy crap. So that's what Charlie Caldwell, who doubles Michael J. Fox. And so he goes, you know what? Max sent you. I said, I trust his judgment. We're going to start what you saw in the very beginning. We did rehearsal for about 6 weeks on just figuring out how we're going to do the hoverboards. We didn't know we were going to, back then they didn't use so much the CGI or anything like that. So at Max Clevin's house, he's got a big ranch, and we took the cranes out there, and we would practice for like 3 or 4 days. They send all the video to the director, see what he liked and what he didn't like, Then we try to fix what he liked and, make it better. So that's what you saw, the crash. That was the crash that we were going through, through the glass later on. And just the U-turns, how to do the U-turns with the special effects guys on top. So after about 6 weeks, I didn't know if I still got the job for it. They brought the actors in, and we matched up pretty good with the 3 of us that were practicing on there. And so Walter Scott said, we're going to start filming in about 2 weeks. And he said, oh, we don't know, shove your head, because it's only going to be like a 3 weeks of shoot maybe. Turned out to be 13 to 14 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. And this is the crash right here. But what he did, to move the cranes around the lot took a lot of time, so you could only get a piece where it kind of flattened out. That's Walter Scott on the side there. This is us shooting. But, so you could only get a little piece of the flying before it started arcing up again. And this is a Mecca. And that's Max over there with the hat. He's the one that got me the job. He was the second unit director. So we got to do all the chase parts as much as we can, and then the actors would do as much as they can also. And you know, the crazy stuff they tell us to do, of course, they didn't let the actors do. And once we got into, this is one of the actors who was on there also. But these are all my pictures that I took, or has a friend of mine took while we're shooting the whole time. A lot of this was just on this camera cover also. Just, they were shooting this with the feet, kind of stuff like that, from the waist down almost. And like I said, it lasted, I think on the film, it's only like a minute and a half, 2 minutes or something, but it took us about 13 weeks to shoot. We had to shoot around Michael J. Fox at one point because he just had, the wife just had the baby. So all the stuff we shot around him, we actually had to redo because it didn't work out without him. So that added like another 2 weeks to the whole shoot. And I don't know if you know, when we did do the crash, Cheryl got hurt really bad. So there was a shot of it just before, you know, a minute ago. It might be coming up again, I don't know. She hit the column. She hit the column because they, you know how you saw on the crane, they would pull us away from the building. We did the rehearsal, and the rehearsal went great. They took the glass out, and we went right through without crashing into the pad because they didn't want to do that part yet. So the next day we came back, and the funny thing, the girl here got picked also, but about 2 or 3 weeks before we did the crash, she had a bad feeling about the whole thing, and she wanted out. So that's my son also. So they brought Cheryl Wheeler in for the rest of it, which is her in the middle there now. And when we did the crash, they took the 3 of us, pulled us back, and then 5th character was in the bottom that you might have seen in one of the photos. That's us with all the actors.
Wow.
Huh.
Very cool.
And then I had a few of them sign it for me. So when they pulled us back, it's maybe about 60 feet away from the building, because you had to get a really good swing. And the 5th character was below us. This is just before the crash. That's just as they were getting ready to crash. That's where she hit the column.
Oh.
You see the column? And if you watch on the film, you'll see us coming through, and then the double doors. She slept outside right now. She's not coming in. And that's me coming through the glass. That's Gary, my partner. That's her falling through the ground right there. Yeah, and that's her hitting the ground. That's Bob Yerke's who the double docked. And then we had a reunion a few years back where we got together again with other actors. So what happened when she came in, I felt like we weren't going to make it in. I said, this doesn't feel right because I've done trapeze so much, I can feel the swing, I know that feeling. And when we came towards the door, I said, we're not going to make it. I felt like I was going to land on top of the door. And the last second, I felt like a push right into the building. And then I came down, and you know, my friend Gary goes, Richie, you all right? I go, yeah, I'm fine. Cheryl, we never heard from Cheryl. We got out, because there was glass coming down for days, it seemed like, because there was a big building. And so we get up, and we notice Cheryl was down next to us. She's still laying outside, and by that point, everybody's around Cheryl. So, and you can watch it in slow motion. You can see her hit, and you can see her hit the ground here. It's our feet. That's us, that's them. So this whole little section here, it took almost 10 weeks to 15 weeks. And this was only my second movie to be, you know, as a stuntman really, because I did Blind Fury and then I went straight into this one. Yeah. But then 110 or 120 films later, this is what started my career pretty much. Which was a great film, and it's on TV all the time. It's unbelievable. You know, right now they're doing like trilogies, like, you know, Rush Hour, all the Rush Hour movies are on, these are on. So we'll try to keep an eye on Cheryl.
Did she get hurt very bad?
She got hurt really bad. She got out of doing stunts for almost 2 years, I think.
Oh.
Yeah,
That is.
yeah. She landed like flat on her face.
Oh.
She fell from about 18 to 20 feet.
Oh.
Yeah. You can see where the column is when she hits the column,
Yeah.
how high we were. So right when they let us go in a minute, of course that was a separate shot from when Michael goes into the
Yeah.
water and all that. And then we set up for the glass coming through the window there. So by the time he swings, it becomes us. See, that's all us now, that's all us, that's us. And watch Cheryl right there, hits the top.
Oh!
And then you'll see her come through the frame there.
That's our drop.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
yeah.
They kept it in the film?
They were gonna reshoot that. But if I don't tell you, or, you know, you won't even notice it if you're not looking for it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The only time you see it is when I point it out almost. And then, of course, if you go back and watch it again, you can clearly see it, you know what I mean?
Man.
And they were gonna reshoot it at some point. And then we kept working some other stuff that we're not finished with. And then they decided, you know, I guess they tried to cut it together and say, well, it's gonna go by so quick you won't notice it. I mean, it's a big crash, you know, it's a whole crash in the whole thing like that. And have you heard about Cheryl Wheeler?
No.
This is the weirdest, oddest story. I met her here at the Wynn. She came to see, my wife was at the, used to be, what's it called? At the Wynn show,
No rep?
Lorette, right. Now it's The Awakening. But Cheryl had posted a thing saying, oh, I'm here, you know, she checked in on Facebook. I go, oh, I'm here too. So I said, okay, I'll see you after the show. So her husband at the time had leukemia or something, had passed away. She had remarried. And then she remarried again. I didn't know any of this going on until the last couple of years that I saw her, that she got involved with this other husband doing this other stuff. But what I didn't know, that she had a feud with her original husband. I mean, not the one that passed away, the one she...
Yeah.
So I get all these calls from some of the actors, Dean's call me, and they go, "Did you hear what happened to Cheryl? What's going on?" And I was getting all these phone calls, and I said, "No, I don't know what's going on." So he sent me this link, which is the saddest thing. I don't know how this even happened. Her and her new husband lived someplace like in South Carolina. The ex-husband lived in Ohio. She talks her present husband to drive her to see her husband, but to kill him,
Wow.
right?
I think I saw that on TV.
It was on the news, it was, and they ambushed the husband and wife over at the house, and they had set up some cameras, but the husband had a permit to carry. Because I guess he had all this information, you know, this threats and stuff like that, and I go, oh my God, I cannot believe, they ended up killing Cheryl's husband and her
Oh,
on the driveway. And this is like a month and a half after I saw her.
Wow.
And I said, oh my God, and my wife and I were just going crazy. I couldn't believe any of this stuff. But, you know, those things happen, I guess. I mean, I'm waiting to see it in Dateline or
What was it
something.
about? What was it over?
The kids going to college, you know, who's paying for what. I honestly don't know the complete story. I'm waiting to see it on Dateline one of these nights. But that was very sad because I known her very well, and I did not see that in her. I mean, I don't know how you get your husband to drive 700 miles, and maybe he might say, you know what, Joe, maybe this is not a good idea, you know, at some point, you know. But this movie actually started my career. Like I said, I was a trapeze artist since I was age 5, and from there I went, you know, after I said, before I get too old, I want to do stunts. And Bob Yerkes was a big help for me to get into the business, and you know, he's such a great guy. He's done so much stuff himself, and I just loved every film that I've worked on. You know, The Grinch, worked on that for like 3 months. Desperado, and I know you've seen Desperado. I was the guitar opener.
Oh.
You remember when he opened the guitar and I go, it's him? That's had 3 lines. But I got killed 3 times. Huh? I got killed 3 times.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a fun movie to work. It was Robert Rodriguez's first big studio picture. Now he's huge, you know. We did Dusk Till Dawn with him afterwards, and then a vampire type thing. Clear and Present Danger, I had the pleasure of working with Harrison Ford for like almost 3 months.
Wow.
We shot that in Mexico. You know, all the stuff we did was in Mexico. The ambush with the Suburbans was shot on a street they built, actually, just for that strip. And then the jungle stuff was down in Jalapa, I believe it was. And we shot there for a while. But yeah, the career, you know, I mean, I'm semi-retired. I mean, we just did a film last year, actually right here in Laughlin. It was for Peacock Channel, I can't remember. Poker Face, I think it was called.
Yeah, that's a cool series.
So I just worked on that. That was the last thing I really did. And I've done some commercials. I shoot commercials, you know, like coordinating and stuff like that. So I try to keep my hand in it. You know, I mean, it's hard. It's very easy to fall down, but it's getting harder to get up afterwards, you know.
Yeah.
But I still enjoy. I still teach flying trapeze here in Vegas and stuff like that. So I get a lot of. Our family, we had a documentary, I don't know if anybody told you, but we have a documentary called The Flight Fantastic. It's on all the channels now. But it tells you how we got into the business of the circus, what we did with it, and also how we pass it on to the young generation, how to teach them to fly on the trapeze and stuff like that. Yes?
Have you done some training for some of the local Cirque du Soleil groups?
I've taught a lot of them. You know, some of them still take lessons because they try to keep the skills up. And like tomorrow morning, I don't know if you've ever seen the bungees they do in like Mystere. I teach that a lot, and a lot of them are being replaced, so a lot of the girls are trying to get freshened up with that. And like tomorrow morning, I have 6 lessons for that. We start at 9:30, I won't be done till about 1 o'clock tomorrow. Yeah, so I still, you know, teach all that kind of stuff too, yes.
Is trapeze like being a gymnast where you're only good at it for a few years and then your body falls apart?
It's just like every athlete, yeah, I mean, well, my brother, I think, was one of the ones that lasted the most compared to a lot of the trapeze artists now. He started back in, I would say around 57, 58, and he was with Ringling Brothers. My family was with the Ringling Brothers for almost 18 years. So, and then he didn't retire until almost 97.
Wow.
Yeah, he took very good, I mean, it was my 2 brothers and my sister, and my dad, and then my dad was the catcher, and then eventually the oldest brother became the catcher, and then I joined the act for the last 12 years that I was with them. But it's all how you take care of yourself. I mean now, because my brother was one of the first ones trying to do the quadruple, and he only caught it once, and when the ringing people kept saying, okay, we want you to do that every night, he goes, well, okay, you have to pay for it. And he goes, what do you mean? Well, you're already on, yeah, but that's a big trick, that's something, you know, that could really ruin my career, because it's such a jolt when you catch that, something like that, that they said, oh, okay, well, you don't have to do it. He goes, I'll do it kind of like if I feel like doing it. And he only did that for a little bit and then didn't want to do it anymore because it's such a, it can tear up your shoulders. Now they're doing it all the time, because it's like, you know, you break a barrier that, what is it, 3 mile or 4 mile run, you know?
4 minute.
Yeah, you know, and once somebody breaks that, then you go, hey, it can be done.
Yeah.
And my brother was kind of, he invented like 3 or 4 big tricks like that nobody had done back in those days. Now everybody's doing it, but somebody had to break that barrier to do that, you know. And the same with stunts, you know, somebody goes, oh, you can actually fall that far with these airbags, and well, now you can. You know, or you're on cables, you know, and doing these senders and stuff like that. But back in the day, even Back to the Future, we didn't have a lot of the CGI like they have now. Or they probably would have just done that in CGI, I think, you know, with the hoverboards and everything. So, yes.
So the rigging cables were attached at the waist.
No. At one point they were,
Okay.
and they didn't like the way we were hanging. So what happened, you're standing on the board like this, we had the cables, one at the front of the board and one on the back of the board. And they ran through a little belt that we had here and all the way up. So you can actually bend your knees and it looked like you're riding a skateboard. And that's what it came out looking like the best. So if your feet came off, you would fall and it would end up sitting like a swing almost.
Gotcha.
Which had happened a couple of times because the guy in the crane would drop you too much, kind of get, and you hit the board on the ground and take it out from underneath it, and you end up sliding back. And then he'll pick it, try to pick you up real fast, but then you just end up sitting on the board.
Was the crane just making a typical like lateral turn to do a flat
Yes,
trajectory?
yes, at one point, and then he was trying to get some speed, so he'd go like this, and he can go straight, and then before it arcs up. He was getting pretty good at it, where he can bring it down really fast, go maybe 20 feet before it starts arcing up, because he can judge it and drop you at the same time. So we had, you know, I think 2 or 3 cranes on the set. Yes.
So you said that they didn't do much CGI, so when you crashed through glass, you really crashed through the glass?
It's candy glass, but it was very thick with, you know, the way the boards were going through it and the balsa wood. That's why it was very delicate the way, I've never seen that, something that big with sugar glass like that, you know? And I got pieces at home still, but it was very thick. So you felt it when you went through, you know what I mean?
Wow.
But that's why they didn't, I don't know, it was very expensive. The whole front end was candy glass and the way they built it. Yeah.
A question with the Rutger Hauer movie. So
Excuse
you're
me?
with Rutger with the Blind Fury
Yeah.
movie. So at the end, you're in the end sword scenes or something like that.
Yes.
Towards the end. Nice.
Yes, I can't, his
I
name
saw that
is
in the
Sho.
theater back when I was a kid.
Yeah, when his name was Sho, I can't remember his last name, it's very Japanese.
Shokushogi?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I met Revenge of the Ninja. Shokushogi?
Yeah.
Wow. you
So
worked
I
with
went
him?
to his house.
I was a huge Shokushogi fan.
I went to his house
No way.
to meet with him, you know,
Wow.
and we matched up size and everything pretty good.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'll do most of this stuff, but I don't want to do the flipping part over him and
Okay.
hitting the mini tramp and flying over it and stuff like this. And then that little part with the trapeze at the end where he
Yeah.
cuts and I go into jacuzzi. I think there's another, there's a stunt reel that shows all my stuff on there. They want to
Okay.
show that in a minute. But that was one of my first films.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
great.
So I got to meet with him, he was real happy with him, we got along, and then when we got to the set, this is one thing I only taught him, to do this like cartwheel over the thing,
Yeah.
and it didn't even look that good, but they kept it in there. And then I just did, where I jump off the jacuzzi, hit the mini tramp, and fly over Dr. Howard as he's flipping with the, you know, and then I'll land on the ground, and then there's an insert shot where he cuts my leg, and then the very end where he cuts the ropes and I go into the jacuzzi where it's all electrified because he had cut the lamp or something like that into the water.
That's funny. Just Shokushogi. That's it.
Yeah.
You guy's a legend. Are you kidding me?
Well, I got to work with Jackie Chan.
Well, Shokushogi.
Yeah.
More Jackie. Yeah.
Jackie Chan to me was my idol, like an idol that I've
Yeah.
because of stunts and everything. And I got a call that they're doing Rush Hour Part 2 here in Vegas. And they set up a scene, I don't know if you guys seen Rush Hour 2 where he has the bomb in his mouth. At one point he was supposed to, because we had circus stuff, just like all the, you know, casinos here in town. And we had little circus people hanging up in there, and he was supposed to jump onto one of my guys, swing down with another rope onto the ground, but instead he dove out of the window to the ground. But, so we had like a show and tell type thing. I had it all set up at my house. So I had Jackie Chan and his stunt team at my house for like 4 hours, 5 hours, which for me was like, oh my God, I can't believe he's here, you know what I mean? So I have all that footage too, which is great. And so we practiced, he would put in his 2 cents and stuff like that. And then I got to work with him here in Vegas for almost 2 months when they were shooting Rush Hour Part 2. But yeah, he was great. I mean,
That's at
fantastic.
the DI, wasn't it?
Hmm?
You guys shoot at DI?
Yes, just when they closed it down, they could
Okay.
blow it up.
Yeah, I was bartending. I was at Stardust across the street.
Yeah,
You guys
Stardust
filmed
was
over
across the
there.
street, exactly.
You guys were filming over there at the time.
Yeah, and they were able to blow it up and everything and do whatever they want inside the casino because they were gonna take it down,
Yeah.
Huh.
you know, which was really sad. But, I mean, I don't think I had any bad experiences really working on any of my films. Working with Ron Howard on The Grinch was, I think, one of the most calmest director I've ever worked with.
Huh.
You know, and that's what they say about him all the time, but on The Grinch we had so much makeup that it was during the winter, so people were getting cold and it was very uncomfortable with all the stuff on. And what I just read the other day is that Jim Carrey had to get some kind of Navy guy who been tortured or learned how to deal with torture because he was claustrophobic in his Grinch outfit.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And, which I didn't know at the time, it was all kept behind, you know, with him. And because he would get there like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and do all his makeup on him. And people weren't complaining because Ron Howard was so awesome. But one day I showed up and there's 2 Grinches on the set. I go, oh, maybe they're doing some stunts with the stunt double or something today. And then he's sitting in the director's chair and all of a sudden it's Ron Howard in full Grinch makeup the whole day, you know, telling Jim Carrey that, look, okay, I know you suffer, I'll suffer at least one day with the whole thing, and everybody else, you know, too, at the same time. And so, you know, nobody was over, you know, it was a great set to work on. Yeah.
What did you do on the Grinch?
I was a who. I was one of the cop who's, and then another character I can't remember. And it's just being in the village, you know, the whole time, doing some little stunts and stuff like that.
Cool.
Yeah. Any more questions?
Are you afraid of heights?
No. I jumped off the stratosphere. You know, on the cable, when they first opened it up, I go, I gotta try that.
Yeah.
What's more dangerous, being a stuntman or trapeze? The life of a trapezer.
Trapeze, you're doing the same thing almost every night, you know, sometimes it's 3 shows a day, it could be, you know, so. I mean, even though you practice it every day, and sometimes I've done a trick and been back on the platform and don't remember. It's like, you know, when you get on the bike, you don't even think about it.
Yeah.
You know, the stunts, it's like, okay, they'll call you up and say, oh, we're getting ready to do this. I go, okay, what are we gonna do? And he'll give you a brief of the thing. But a lot of times, you know, like Back to the Future, I didn't know we were gonna be crashing through the thing till we started rehearsing on it, you know, and stuff like that. But most of the time you get a heads up, and I don't think I've turned anything down, but you know, if you don't feel comfortable with something, it's better to pass it on to somebody else. I mean, I'm not a crazy driver, I don't do a lot of driving, I've done just a little bit, but I'm not gonna put myself in one of these Fast Furious movies and do the stuff, you know, that I'm not comfortable with. You know, but just I've done a huge fight on a roller coaster. It's a live roller, the one in Santa Cruz. I don't know if it's on the boardwalk. And we worked on that for about a week. So we had stunt people and some extras in it, but the stunt people were there to catch us because we sometimes would jump from car to car. Because my thing was there was a guy, the bad guy, had a bomb in the front of the car that he was trying to arm or something because we had disarmed it, and he was jumped back on trying to arm it, and I was the guy who was trying to get it to blow it up or something. I was doubling the bad guy. So we were doing, I mean, those, you know, come in. So I jumped off where it comes out to go up the hill. I jumped off that little roof on the car, jumped up about 4 cars, and then my guys had to strap me in so it's riding the roller coaster on your belly is what it was. Because I was sitting in between, or laying in between some of the guys in the roller coaster and doing the whole thing like that. And then when we come inside, we just click, 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 we would try to move up a car trying to get to the bad guy. Then at one point it stops at the very top, and I knock the guy off the front, and then we do a quick fight, and then I fall off the roller coaster, kind of like but with the cable, like they do here at the so it's like a descender. So it's like, I don't know, like 100 feet, something like that. Yeah, something like that. And then you practice with the airbag, but then you do it and there's no airbag down there. You just hold the cable works, you know. Is there the stunt reel on there real quick? That one's only like 2 minutes long. Keep it rolling. Any other questions?
Is there any connection with like the ninja gym community and the trapeze community?
Now there is. I don't know if you watched the Ninja. Do you know Jesse Graff?
Yeah.
Jesse used to work out with me a lot in LA. I had my trapeze school in LA for like since Circus of the Stars. I don't know if you've seen that show back in the day. We used to have I used to train Circus of the Stars for the last 5 years or something like that. Then we put the trapeze in set back. So Jessie would train with me a lot, and she used the trapeze kind of thing for a lot of her ninja stuff.
Yeah, it seems like there'd be a lot of crossover between.
Yeah, it's like cross training almost.
Yeah.
And she brought in a couple of the guys that done the show with her back in the day. Yeah. She still kind of flies when I saw her here in Vegas when they did the last one. Said hi to her for a minute. Yeah.
It's at South Point, right?
It was just behind South Point. Yeah, I went over there for the night and saw her, but she was sicker than the dog. So I don't think she made it to the next level right now. I never saw it on TV, but I got to see her do it there. She's amazing. She got her mom doing it.
Yeah.
You see that? Yeah, and her mom, she brought her mom over for trapeze, and we did trapeze class with her and stuff like that.
cute.
Yeah, it's really unbelievable how she got in shape and everything for that. That's it. That's it. Yeah. This is only about 3 minutes. That's swordfish. You can turn it up if you want.
I will.
Yeah.
Give me a second. Stupid mouse.
That's
Move
Benny Jones,
this
who was
way.
a soccer player in England for many years before he became an actor.
We begging me for this good.
This is one I just did about 2 years ago.
Thank you, Gail.
I got so sore after that. we rehearsed it for like, I don't know, like 12 times. And that's a good shot for Southland, man. It's just Southland. That's all, I'm just trying to sell some snow cones. This is CSI. Alright. This is Fled. This is a movie with Burt Reynolds that we did. Always falling off or something. Always getting shot. Yeah. This is a Jag. This is a Jag. This is another time of Jag. This is another Some of it's my own footage, but sometimes it never gets on film, you know, so at least I have it.
Yeah.
That's a show called Wolf we did in San Francisco. Desperado. I had like, I think 15 squibs on me here. That's another time I got blown up on the same movie.
Whoa.
It's American Beast, we shot in the back lot of Universal. But James Everett almost directed. It was during the Zoot Suit riots. Pirates of the Caribbean, that's me right there. Far right. That's Black Fury.
Wow.
That's Black Fury. That's rehearsing for a stunt for that.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's called The Russian Swing. Yeah. A medicine woman. That's Seinfeld. Oh, Seinfeld.
That's what it looks like this.
Yeah, right? I got a taste of dip. Yeah. Those are the worst balls right there. The one on the back.
So it slips.
Yeah. That's Jag again. I don't remember what that one is. That's the roller coaster.
No, right.
This is fighting on a roller coaster as he goes up the hill. Now that's where I fall off. As he throws me off. Yeah. That's Rick Springfield beating me up. That's Lou Van Halen. This is Michael Douglas and falling down.
Oh, yeah.
This is a demo we did for the fire department. Yeah, a whole fire station behind, being on sets and stuff like that. And that's an air ram that throws you like that.
So the explosion doesn't provide any force.
No, it's all the air ram that we stick on. That you saw on Desperado. That's what I'm sticking on right there that throws me up against the wall. That's another explosion that threw me up. That's for Desperado.
So it's a high-speed jet of air.
Yeah, it's a jet piston right there.
Wow.
And it's triggered, but you can barely see it there, but it's triggered as soon as you step on it.
Huh.
Yeah. Any questions before I go?
Yeah, you call, I think you said squid. When the blood goes off, you
Yes.
detonate that?
Sometimes you can, you know, but when like on Desperado, I had, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then another set on the back. So it ran through the cable through my pants, and then the special effects guy would do it.
Okay, then you did it in that one.
Yeah, he did it on that one because there was too many. I've only done it maybe once or twice where it's just a single hit or two, you know, like double hit or something like that.
Okay.
But they do hurt sometimes. Yeah.
Implode.
Yeah, well, on Desperado, I had so many that, because he picks me up and he spins me, and I'm spinning, but when I lift my arm up, one went off and got me on the cheek a little bit. Yeah, so it was a stinger. Yes.
Is it crazy about like how dangerous it is when they have real bullets and live ammo? What do you think about that when you saw the Alec Baldwin?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know how
Bruce
that's
Lee
even
thing.
possible to happen because we've been lectured so many. I'm like, we did the movie The Alamo. We had to go for a week of training using those muskets, trying to put those in. And then on Tango and Cash, we had also another like 4 days of using all the different weapons.
Yeah.
You know, and they're so strict. Desperado too. We had, you know, and I don't know how the armor usually gives you that gun.
Yeah.
And as soon as they yell cut, they run in there and grab it from you. And then reload it, of course, if you're going to do another shot. But I've never heard the first AD guy or the first assistant director hand you anything like that. I don't know how that was, you know.
Weird.
Yeah, very weird.
Because then
And-
Brandon Lee got killed too.
Well, he was playing with the gun at the time.
Oh, he
Oh,
was?
no, that's right. There was another actor who was playing with the gun,
Okay.
and then he went off. He was playing Russian roulette.
Oh.
And the wad is what killed him.
Sure.
Because on Tango and Cash, they demonstrated what each gun and how powerful, even if, you know, they had these boxes, and like the shotgun, and that's 15 feet away, and you can still put a hole in you if you want, you know? You know, how not to shoot directly at you, maybe off the side, because you're never going to see that. You know, but yeah, we go through a lot of strict training. The day of, or 3 or 4 days, if it's like a lot of guns on the set and stuff like that. Yes?
Ever worked with Steven Seagal?
No. But you ever heard of Gene LaBelle?
Yeah. I heard about that story.
That story?
Hey, I heard that's not true.
It's true. It's true. He put him out, and Gene got fired like the next day.
You guys know the story?
He put
No.
Gene LaBelle is a famous wrestler judo guy who taught Elvis Presley. He just passed away like 2 years ago. They just did, all the stunt guys just this weekend did like a motorcycle ride for him.
Oh,
Yeah, but, and he can put people out and, you know, but he wouldn't, it'd be the other guys, hey Gene, put this guy out, you know, and it came to Seagal and goes, oh, I heard about this Gene LaBelle guy, he can never do this to me, or that. Put him out, and he got fired.
Well, he said try to get me in a chokehold.
Yeah, something like
Gene
that.
got him in a
Yeah.
chokehold.
Yeah.
And they said Seagal was hitting him in the groin, getting out of it.
Trying to get out of
They
it.
didn't do anything
No.
to him. And
No.
then they choked out Seagal.
Yeah.
And they said Seagal, you know,
It's a true story.
Yeah,
I've worked with Gene a couple
his
of
body
times.
functions went out.
Yeah. So, yeah, Gene.
I don't know, that's a
He was
legend.
considered the toughest man alive as a stunt guy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very humble guy, beautiful man, but yeah, he's been around the business.
With Bruce Lee, he was friends with Bruce Lee.
Bruce
We talked
Lee,
about
with all the
wrestling.
Batman series back in the day, Superman series back in the day. Yeah. I've gotten lucky and worked with a lot of these old timers that I used to look up to, you know, and I caught that end of it more or less, you know, which I'm really happy to have done that. Any more?
Yeah, I just have a comment.
Yeah.
When you had the, what do you recall, the small clips, the
Uh-huh.
last one we saw, it seemed to me to be so important that you were right on target. The timing had to be perfect because the mattresses and airbags
Yeah.
were so small. I
Yeah.
thought they'd be a lot larger.
Some of them were pretty small. I mean, I've had to land on like just well, they're not very high sometimes. You know, it depends. If we do a 2-story fall, we can go right into porta pits. You know, put a couple together. There's one there where I went over a railing, landed and bounced right off into the cement. But it broke my fall. But you just never know. Sometimes when you go off backwards blind. Luckily, I have a pretty good air awareness, you know, that I can kind of save myself sometimes. But yeah, I mean, I love doing the falls, you know, I really do. That was one of, that's why the guy on the roller coaster, he goes, I know you don't mind heights, and I know you're really good with that. And that's what, it was Michael J. Fox's stunt double who was coordinating that. And since we already had worked together, he brought me in for that one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, good work.
yeah, thank you so much, thank you.
On behalf of all the DeLorean owners here, we'd like to thank you so much. for
No,
coming
thank
out.
you for inviting me. Well, I just heard about this and Chris was telling me about it and I go, oh my God, I'd like to just come in and check it out sometime, you know?
Also, before you go, you gotta say hi to Gary Devaney over there, front corner. He also was a stuntman at SAG and
Oh, really?
I got one question for you.
Yes.
How many bones broke?
None.
Never?
wow.
Get out.
You are an enigma.
I tell you what, I did break a kneecap, but it had nothing to do with the stunt.
Oh,
I was coordinating a film, and it was up in Seattle, and it was like an old wooden where they used to do all the lumber stuff, and they had all these machines that it was closed down. They cleaned it out, and we put a big circus tent inside. But you know those big plates they put on the highway when they get a hole and they put a temporary type thing. Well, they had those all over the place except for one place where they just had some wooden pallets. And it was dark, and we were moving some equipment, and my friend was already on the other side of the hold, I guess, and I didn't know, I thought, because we were backing up a truck, I didn't know there was a hold on it. I went to pick it up, took a step, and fell like 15 feet. And that's the only time that it had nothing to do with doing a stunt or anything like that, but that's where I broke my kneecap. But then, I braced it up, and I finished the movie, and then when I got back to LA, I fixed it. But I was really lucky. I mean, you get bruises, of course. I've gotten some bruises and stuff like that, but luckily, there's nothing broken like that on the film.
Do you have a high threshold for pain?
No. I don't like pain. I mean, I've had some falls on the trapeze where, I've over-rotated into the net and like separate the ribs, the cartilage in between the ribs. That was painful. Because it was, it's hard to breathe. And I couldn't perform, but I had to go up on the trapeze anyway to do the return bars for my brother. And I was like, oh my God, that was the worst pain I was in for like maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks or something like that.
Really?
Yeah. I did break my nose a little bit on the trapeze. When I was first learning one of my tricks, I bumped into the catcher. And he put it, because he saw me coming at him a little too long, and he did this, so I hit him here and I just cracked the tip of my nose. But stunt-wise, I've been lucky, and like I said, if I had to turn something down, I don't think I ever turned anything down. At least I tried it once, see if it worked out.
But you have Rush Hour 4 coming out, they say, right?
That's what they're saying. Yeah.
Make a call, make a phone call.
Well, I think Conrad, who did all of them, is semi-retired, or I think he just retired, so I know Eddie Braun might be doing it now. Eddie Braun's the one that took the rocket over the Snake River, like Evel Knievel did.
Wow.
Did you see it? He actually
I
did
heard
it.
about something like that. I didn't watch it.
It's on the Disney Channel, I think, or something that shows, it's a great documentary, how he ended up doing it. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. But he wanted to try to finish that for him.
Oh, nice.
And he did. He did. Anything else? Thank you, guys.
Thank you.